Hello everyone, good morning. Today we're going to discuss about additional domain controller and child domain and new domain tree in the existing forest. So before getting into these topics, uh, I would like to tell you logical structure of Active Directory. What is logical structure of Active Directory? Okay. So first, this is the logical structure of Active Directory. So logical means this is not a physical thing, this is a logical thing. Okay, so why we need additional domain controller, child domain and new domain tree? So first we'll discuss about additional domain controller, why we need a additional domain controller. Okay, so in the name itself we call additional domain controller. We have a domain controller already, so this is a domain controller. Okay, this is DC domain controller, this is workstation, and this is the member server. Okay, so why we need additional domain controller? If you have already a domain controller, why we need additional domain controller for us? So yes, if this AD is down, unfortunately, if the AD is down, what will happen? Can anyone guess what will happen if AD is down? If AD is down, the centralized authentication system will collapse. For example, see, I'm trying to log in user administrator or ARN. Okay, let's say ARN. ARN is the user and domain password. See, if the DC is down, what will happen? I cannot log in with this account. So all the employees, if the DC is down in an organization, if DC is down, this is DC, let's say domain controller, DC. Okay, this is the domain controller. Domain controller means centralized authentication system. Okay, so if DC is done, what will happen? Then workstations. So workstations, every employee laptop, desktop is a workstation. Every employee laptop, desktop is a workstations. So these workstations will be authenticated from the domain controller. So if the domain controller is down, who will give the authentication? So they cannot log in. These are the workstations. Okay, so these workstations cannot log in if the DC is down. So if they are not log in, what will happen? They cannot work. Employees cannot work. So they need the authentication. So when we give username and password, workstation contacts communicate DC and take the permissions from the DC. As I already told you, the uh, ticket granting ticket. Last class, we discussed about this. One second. No, previous class. Yeah. In the previous class, oh, no. I think in the profiles, yeah. We discussed here. Oh, no. In which class we discussed? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Active Directory and services. Yeah. Here. So what will happen? AD is logon process. AD logon process, user account is authenticated to domain controller. So this workstation, some Ravi or Raju, I don't, someone's workstation. This is Ravi workstation. So Ravi logging to Ravi's username. Okay, and password, some password. Okay. So to log into this workstation, Ravi need to authenticate, take the authentication permissions from the DC, because this user is in DC. So this workstation need to take approval from DC and log into this mission. Otherwise, this workstation will not allow to log in Ravi. So if the username is wrong or password is wrong, if password or username is wrong, so DC will not give permissions approval to log into this workstation. So what will happen if DC is down? They cannot be logged into these workstations with any user. Any user cannot log in this workstation if DC is down. Okay. So if it is down, I cannot log into this. Switch. Ravi is one more user, right? ARN Ravi password. So now I'm able to log in because this workstation contact DC, contacted DC. DCs gave approval to this workstation to allow Ravi to log in this workstation, right? So if DC is done, what will happen? Everyone will be idle. They cannot log into their workstations. If they cannot log into the workstation, what will happen? They cannot work. Simple. They cannot work. So in such cases, we see administrator time. I learned one thing about uh, time. See, administrator time is very precious, very precious. For example, in this scenario, if the administrator, see, the DC is down. Okay, how the administrator time is precious, I will explain here. This is out of subject, but I would like to tell you that how the administrator job is crucial. So this is down. So no one is logged into their workstations like laptop, desktop, anything. So everyone is sitting idle. So the time starts 1 minute. So admin is working on DC to make it up, to bring the DC up. So 1 minute is over, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. So, okay. So finally, administrator finally bring the DC online in 3 minutes. So now everyone is working. Okay. So we have here workstations, 50 workstations. 50 workstations. So now the administrator took 150 minutes. So 150 minutes is non-production. So everyone time depends on the administrator. So 150 minutes got wasted. There is no work. There is no work happened. So 150 minutes. So if the administrator, oh sorry, yeah, 150 minutes. Okay. So if the administrator took 1 minute, then 50 minutes. So this is the crucial of admin job, because of every second is important to administrator. If you are wasting a lot of time, that multiple employees workstations. Okay. So this 150 minutes got wasted, and the company has to pay 150 minutes without work to the employees. So the admin job is very crucial. So that is the reason we need an additional domain controller. We need a additional domain controller. Why we need additional domain controller? Now you can say, you came to know, right? Why we need additional domain controller? Because if if DC is down, unfortunately, if DC is down due to any reasons, due to power, due to network, due to issue in the software issue, or hardware issue, network issue, power issue, or any reason, due to any reasons, okay, or maybe domain control is not functioning well due to virus, malware. So due to any reasons, the DC may not function properly. Then what will happen? Everyone will sit idle. They cannot work. So that is the reason we need a additional domain controller. We need a additional domain controller. So this additional domain controller, when the DC is down, this will take care. This is additional domain controller. When the DC is down, see this replication, when the DC is down, okay, no need to worry because ADC will take care. No one will sit idle because we have ADC. If DC is down, ADC will take care the responsibilities of all the workstations. Okay. So if you already have a one domain controller in the domain, you can add additional domain controller to the domain to improve the availability and reliability of network services. High availability. So high availability means when the when the DC is down, still the workstations can log in, workstations can resume their work because of ADC. Reliability, no failures, no failures, nothing will happen. Okay. Adding additional domain controller can help provide fault tolerance, balance load of existing domain controller, and provide additional infrastructure support to the sites. See, not only fault tolerance. So fault tolerance means one DC is down, another will take care. ADC will take care. And also here, if DC is not down. But this DC is getting a lot of requests. So keep on adding more workstations. Okay, workstations are increasing. So 50, now 150 workstations. So 150 workstations, DC's configuration, hardware configuration is less. This hardware configuration supports only 100 workstations. So 100 workstations can uh, load, this DC can bear 100 workstations. But we are adding 150 workstations. So what will happen? The DC may not respond. Slowly, uh, uh, the DC first get slow, and after that, it may hang. Okay. So slow, not responding, and reboot. So because of this, DC hardware is only supports 100 workstations, but we are giving 150 workstations we have added to DC. What will happen? So DC will slow down. So if the DC slow down, the approval process will slow. So you may take 5 minutes to log in, right? 5 minutes to log in, then 5 minutes will get wasted, right? So we can use ADC like a load balancer, load balancer, load balancer. So load balancer means the load, what are the getting the load, we can share the load 50%, 50% to DC, so that the 150 request will divide 75, 75. Hence, the DC will work active and speed because the load is sharing between DC and ADC. So there are a lot of advantages having an additional domain controller in our network. Okay. So this is what explained. This is entry perspective. You can read this. Okay, next, domain tree. So what is domain tree? Tree is a set of one or more domains with a contiguous namespace. Tree. For example, why we need a tree? Yeah. See, you have a lot of businesses like Tata. Tata in many businesses, right? Let me Tata businesses. Um, businesses. Tata businesses. Let's view more. See, if you see the Tata businesses, Tata Motors, Adani Groups, lot of, see, these are all Tata businesses. Few, I mean, leave it my head. Uh, jobs, careers, company stock data, Tata company. Okay. So why I'm telling about Tata, I will just let me, yeah, companies. See, these are all the companies, right? See, why we need a domain tree? We have a multiple businesses. We have a multiple business like Tata. So we need a separate tree. Tree is set of one or more domains with contiguous namespace. So this is Tata forest. Tata is the name is forest. Under Tata, there are many businesses. Okay. Let's write down few. Okay. Okay. So let's see. This is the first company. This is Tata Consultancy Service, TCS. You all know, right? TCS. And sorry, and this is Tata Air India. Tata Air India. Now I think Air India. Air India. Okay. Air India. And Vistara also. Vistara Airlines. The Tata. Vistara and many more. I'm just whatever I knew. I'm just um, airlines. Air India. Uh, there are many companies. Okay. I'll pick few. Okay. Vistara also Tata is. So here and Tata Steel. Tata Steel. Tata Power. See, there are many businesses under Tata Forest. This is called forest. Tata is the forest. Tata Power. And let's write the big one. Tata Hotels. Taj Mahal. Like I'll write a Tata Hotels. Okay. Tata Hotels. See, under the Tata, this is forest. We call this is forest. Forest. Under the forest, Under the forest, many trees. These are the trees. See, this is a tree. 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 These are all trees under the forest. Okay. So now coming to our topic, domain tree. Tree is set of one or more domains with contiguous namespace. Okay. See, each business is different. They cannot, in TCS employees cannot log into Vistara, Air India workstations. Tata Steel systems cannot, in Tata Steel workstations, TCS, Air India, Vistara, or Tata Power cannot log in. Each company is different, but all the companies under one forest called Tata. Here, we are going to create a tree, a child domain. We are going to create a tree. We are going to create a tree. So in the forest, we are going to create a one tree like TCS or Vistara or Air India or Tata Steel or Tata Power or Tata Hotels. So that is called tree. So this is tree is set of one or more domains with contiguous namespace. Contiguous namespace, same namespace. So under, if you see any company and Starbucks, yeah, I forgot, this is favorite to everyone. Starbucks is like, this is like Starbucks. Okay. Starbucks. So there are many trees under the forest. So we are going to create like one tree in our domain, in our forest. What is our forest? What is our forest? ARN. ARN is our forest. See, ARN is our forest. And first domain, domain and first tree and first forest. So which are going to create, whichever the going to create a first, that would be a domain, tree, forest. So initially they started company Tata. So under Tata, they are created many companies. So, but this is the mother or father of the forest. So Reliance is a one more example. So Reliance Power, Reliance, I mean, Petroleum, Geo. So everything is under one forest. Like ARN is our forest. ARN is our forest, ARN.com. So under this forest, we are going to create a tree like Tata Steel or Starbucks or Tata Hotels or Tata Power. Okay. So that is called tree. The first domain created as a root domain of the first tree. See, whatever we created first, that would be a tree, that would be a first tree, that is the root domain, and that is a forest. Okay. And other domains in the same domain trees are child domains. So other domains, if we created any other domain in the tree, that would be a child domains. A domain immediately above another domain in the same domain, a tree is the parent. Okay. So that is called tree forest. Forest is multiple domain trees within a single forest. Within a single forest, do not form a contiguous namespace. See, this is a forest, but each, this Tata name will not come, having a different names. See, multiple domains trees within the single forest, but do not form the contiguous namespace. So these trees will not use the Tata. See here Vistara, here Air India, here Tata Steel, here Starbucks. So the names would not be the same. Names would be different. But even it is under same forest, names would be different. All through trees in the forest do not share a namespace. A forest will have a single root domain called a forest root domain. Forest root domain is the first domain created in the forest. Okay. These two forest-wide preferred groups resides in the forest root domain, enterprise admins and schema admins. So these will resides forest-wide, but rest of there is no chances communicating between, TCS employees can log into cannot log into Vistara companies workstations, and they cannot log into Air India companies workstations, and Tata Steel or Tata Power or Starbucks. So I am TCS employee, can I log into, if you go Starbucks and ask, can I log into your machine, I am a TCS employee, we are all under Tata Forest. No, you cannot. And names also different. You're under Tata Forest, but you cannot log into their missions. Okay. So this is the concept of tree forest domain controller. Okay. So now, any questions? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm very happy to answer your questions. And let me give you any questions. I'm just searching for something.
Oh, sir.
So you should be clear the concept. Okay. If you're not clear the concept, then you cannot understand the lab and all. Okay. Okay. Now let's jump into lab. So now what is the first concept we need to do in the lab? This ADC, additional domain controller. Since we have only one domain controller, we need additional domain controller, because if the DC is down, then what will happen? They cannot log in, employees cannot log into their workstations. Or if DC getting a lot of load, if DC is cannot handle the load, what will happen? DC will offline, will shut down. So in such cases, we need additional domain controller. So I'm going to create an additional domain controller. So for additional domain controller, we need a mission and need to install server operating system. Okay. We need a mission and install server operating system, Windows Server 2012 or 2022. Okay. So this server role is member server. Let's see the role of the servers. Primary, net accounts. So this is server. Now this server role is server. Okay, member server. Okay, member server. Remember this. And here primary, because this is the primary server, means with this server having active directory services, and this is the domain controller. So that is the reason it is a primary server. So this is just server, member server. So I'm promoting this server to additional domain controller. I'm promoting this server to additional domain controller. So let's see how we can promote this server to additional domain controller. Before promoting the server, we should check the IP addresses. Okay, click here, double click, properties, TCP IPv4. Here, see 192.168.223.11 is the IP, and this is the primary server IP. Primary means domain controller IP. Okay, now this is also going to be a additional domain controller. Additional domain controller means one more domain controller, but we are going to make this domain controller. So I'm giving preference same IP, and alternative I'm giving 223.10. This is how we need to change the IP address, because this system also going to be a domain controller. So I gave the IP address as a primary of the same IP address, and this IP address is domain controller IP address. Okay, click OK, click OK, click OK. So now we need to promote this server to domain controller. Promote this server to domain controller. Okay, so dashboard, add roles and features, click next, click next, click next. Here we need to enable Active Directory domain services. So we need to check Active Directory domain services. Add, say Active Directory domain services. Click next, click next, click next, restart, install if required. So if required, the system will restart itself. System will restart itself. Any questions so far? So we are going to create an additional domain controller for a backup purpose and for load balancing. So there are many advantages of creating one more additional domain controller. We have already additional domain controller. Sorry, we have already domain controller. We are creating one more domain controller that is called additional domain controller. So additional domain controller, if you have additional domain controller, there are a lot of advantages as I discussed. So every organization should have an additional domain controller, and many organizations having multiple additional domain controllers, not one, more than one. Okay, we'll discuss in the upcoming classes why more additional domain controllers are required for an organization. Okay, so it is installing. Once it is installed, yeah, done. Now here, if you see the notification area, see post deployment configuration, promote this server to a domain controller. Click here. See here, we need to select the correct, because this is the center to choose the correct option. If you choose the wrong option, that server role will be a different. So select the deployment operations. Add a domain controller to an existing domain. Add a new domain to an existing forest. Add a new forest. What we are going to add? A new domain controller. We are adding a new domain controller to an existing domain. What is the existing domain? Forest ARN, right? ARN is the domain forest tree. Okay, so I'm going to add one domain controller to arn.com domain. So add a domain controller to an existing domain. Okay, here click next. So if you please keep this same account. Okay, if you want to change, you can change the account who has admin privileges. So I have already administrator account, so taking current user to run these operations. Okay, click next. Okay, now here you need to give a password. So this password, keep the same password what administrator having. Okay, click next. Click next. Click next. See here, replicate from any domain controller or particular domain controller. You need to select a particular domain controller. So this domain controller should replicate from this. Replicate from this. So I need to select from which server this server need to replicate. From which server this server need to replicate. So I gave I specified the server name winadarn.com. This is winadarn.com. Selected. Click next. So database log sysvol I already discussed. So what is this? This is the database. This is a log a database log file, and this is a sysvol, means policy templates. Will store in the policy templates. Click next. So you can review the options you selected so far. If you feel any wrong, you can go back and change accordingly. You can go back and change. See, you can review the options you selected. Okay, all good. Click next. Prerequisites checks is going on. So checking with the domain controller and everything is perfect or not. Yeah, successful. Install. Now this system is going to be a additional domain controller. So far we see this is a member server. Let's see after this installation, we'll see the server status, we'll see the server's role will change or remaining the same. Let's see. Okay. Right now the server role is server. This is member server. Okay. After installing this Active Directory services, so the server role become change. Installing. Yeah, close. So it will restart automatically. Let me shut down this machine. Power off. Okay. And for domain tree, forest, sorry, for child domain and new tree, we need two more missions. I forgot to create. Let me create now. New virtual mission. Click and going to create. Yeah, I supposed to create before itself. I forgot. VMs. Here I'm creating CDC, child domain, CDC, and one more folder I'm going to create, tree. Okay. CDC. Click next. 40 GB. I'm just creating virtual missions for other servers. For other, okay, CDC. I created, rename, and one more virtual mission I'm going to create. Windows, click next. Tree. And path would be under VM. Trees folder is there, right? So I'm selecting tree. 40 GB. Rename it. Rename CDC, child domain controller. Okay. And let me edit. 4 GB RAM, 2 and need to select Windows operating system. Windows OS. WinOS. Power on. Let it install. Okay. I will do the same here. So I'm just creating a virtual machines and installing operating system. That's it. Usually I create before the class, but I forgot. WinOS. Okay. Okay. So let's verify this server. Okay. Now what is this? Is the server role is changed or same? Okay. Okay. Go to command prompt. Net accounts. See, now it's came as a backup. See, before it was server, now it is a backup. Means this is DC, primary. This is backup. So this is primary domain controller. This is a backup domain controller. So now I am renaming here ADC, additional domain controller. So go to tools, users and computers. Okay. Meantime, let's install this India. Okay. Install. Just don't get confused. I'm just installing. Okay. Install. I'm preparing these missions for child domain entry. Okay. Okay. Let's start. See, expand. See, I didn't create user, sales, IT, anything in this mission. See, everything is replicated. See, all users. See, everything is replicated. So, okay. So let's kick it off this so that it will install. Then we'll verify. New apply. Okay. Format. Okay. Format. Click. Okay. Let it install. Click next. Click next. Custom. New. So I want to create a one partition. Okay. Whole 40 GB. Creating one partition. So format. Click next. Okay. Let them install. Okay. Okay. Now we verified that this is the, go to command prompt. This is the backup. Before we got what we got? Server. Net accounts. Before we got server, but now it become a backup domain controller. So this is the additional domain controller. So this is primary domain controller. Okay. If you verify here, Active Directory, every object was synced or replicated to here from the primary domain controller. From the primary domain controller, every object has synced or replicated to here. Okay. So in this scenario, suddenly if the DC is down, the ADC should take care of the responsibility, right? So whatever the information in DC should be replicate to ADC. Then only ADC will take care. Otherwise, if the ADC doesn't have the information of DC, ADC cannot handle this responsibility. That is the reason whatever you create here in DC, that will replicate in ADC. So let's check. Go to activity use in computers. So whatever you're creating, whatever you're adding the data in DC, I mean primary domain controller, that will be replicated to here. Okay. Let's see. So in IT, see here IT. Okay. So I'm going to create a one user here. Okay. So click here. IT support. Here IT support. No spaces, nothing here. Okay. IT support. So I'm giving password. Click next. Finish. See, I created IT support user in IT organizational unit under IT organizational unit OU. Let's see here. Here, just refresh it. Just refresh it. See, you can see here. So that way DC ADC will replicate always. Will replicate always. So let me create here. Okay. Okay. QA. QA. Q means tester, like tester I'm giving. Tester. Tester. Okay. Click next. Just refresh here. So it will replicate slowly. Okay. So it will replicate slowly. So what are the I created here? This will replicate to here. Okay, we'll see after some time. Okay, so this replication will happen between this DC and ADC. Okay, so let's see how far. Yeah, it's still installing. Yeah, installing. So now we are going to create a child domain. A child domain. So as I said, under the tree, see arn.com is the tree. arn.com is the tree, right? I think it is. One second. Let me shut down the ADC. Okay, because now my system is too slow because of many systems I'm running. Shut down. Due to slowness, I'm shut downing the ADC. But we shut down the ADC, that would be not a problem. Anyway, we have DC. Okay. So that these systems will speed up. Yeah. Done. Still finishing up 49%. So it is restarting now. The installation is done. So system is restarting now. So now I'm going to create this mission as a child domain. Child domain. I'm changing free stretch and settings, network adapter. Okay, NAT. We have already, I already shown all the settings. Here also, still it is running. Going to display a free stretch and NAT. Okay. So now it is restarting. Child domain. So child domain is nothing but we have a domain called ARN, right? We have a domain called ARN. ARN is a tree, domain, forest, everything, because the first, we created ARN first. So ARN is a domain controller. I mean, sorry, domain, tree, forest. Okay, ARN.com. So I'm going to create a child domain. I'm going to create a child domain. So now it's a child domain. Child domain. We heard this is sister concern company. Okay, we usually discuss. Yeah, in Tata there is a sister concern company. I mean, in same software, uh, Tata ELXI. This is also a software. So this is a kind of child domain to the TCS. TCS child domain companies Tata ELXI. And here you can also Tata Airlines. So Tata Airlines, like Tata Airlines is the company. Tata Airlines. So in Tata Airlines, Air India and Vistara and many more are child domains under Tata Airlines. Okay. So like that, likewise, we have a domain dot arn.com. So I'm going to create a domain called child domain. This is child domain of ARN. So now the domain name will change. The domain name will change. So how this domain name will change? Let's see. I'm not giving any name here. So how the domain name will come, we'll see in the lab. Here, administrator, password. Log into this. See, this system is just server. This is work group server. This is work group. Even we didn't add this mission to domain. Even we didn't add this server to domain. This is work group mission. It's loading. Okay. Yes. Creating profiles. Okay. So sorry for the slowness uh, because of we are running many missions, so that is the reason it is a little bit slow. Go to local server. See, this is work group. This is work group mission. So I want to change the mission name. So anyway, I'm going to give win CDC. CDC means child domain controller. CDC. I'm changing the name to CDC. Okay. Okay. Later, restart later. Before restarting, I need to set up a IP address. Go to here, TCP IPv4. Here, 192.168.223, and I'm going to give 12. Going to give 12. Here, 192, sorry, 192.168.223, 12. And what is the alternative? We need to give 192.168.223, 10. We need to give this IP address of this mission. DC. This is a forest, domain, tree, everything. So click OK. Click OK. Slow. Click close. Now restart it. Restart. Okay. Meantime, let's change here also. Change. This is a not a here. This is a different. So let me give win tree. Okay, I'm just giving win tree. Restart later and need to give IP address. Okay. Open properties TCP IP 192.168.223. I'm just giving 15. 192.168. 168, 223, 15, and 192, 168, 223, 10. See, this tree is different. I will explain later. Let it restart. So now the system is ready. Log into local administrator user. Okay, now this is a work group mission. Let me check the system role. What is the system role? Net accounts, server. The system role is server. Okay. Now I'm going to install a child domain. Child domain means, so under this domain, we'll create a one more domain, like arn.com is domain, as I said. So I'm going to create a one more child domain, one more child domain. So this is child domain. So to create a child domain, go to dashboard, add roles and features. Click next, click next, click next. Here, Active Directory domain service. You need to add Active Directory domain services. Click next, click next, click next, restart. That's it. Restart if required. So before we created a additional domain for controller for a DC. Now we are creating a one more domain for arn.com. So arn.com is a domain. I'm creating a one more child domain like arn.com. Okay. Here the servers, these are the servers, but these are the domains. This is server. Okay. Don't confuse. This is server. This is server. So we are creating a we have created a backup server for DC. Now we are creating a domain for, we are creating a domain like arn.com. One more domain for business. One more business. For one more business. Like here, Tata Airlines. In Tata Airlines domain tree, in Tata Airlines tree, we created child domains like child domains. In Tata Airline is the main domain. We created a Air India as a child domain. So, and Vistara is a child domain. Like we can create a child domains. So close. Now go to flag, promote this server to a domain controller. Click here. Yeah, here we need to select the option correctly. If you select wrong option, the server role will be a different. Will be different. So we are going to create a child domain controller, right? So for that, add a new domain to the existing forest. Existing forest is arn.com is the forest. It is the first forest, first tree, first domain. Okay. Now add a new domain. We are creating a domain, not a domain controller. We are creating a domain. So we need to select this and select child domain. Select child domain. Okay. And then click and give password. Sorry. And parent domain name. What is the parent domain name? What is the parent domain name here? Speak up, my guys. arn.com. This is the parent domain, arn.com. So new domain name means this is the new domain. So what you're going to give the new domain name, like I'm going to give arn, okay, training. Okay. So I'm just giving a name, training. Trainings. So I'm just giving a new domain, trainings. Here you need to supply the credentials to perform this operation, change. So you need to give the ARN/administrator password. Okay. So ARN is a company. In the company, trainings is one child company which gives trainings. Okay. Child trainings. Click next. So now this domain will become a child domain. See here, you need to click next. That's it. And give the password, administrator password. Okay. Administrator password. Click next. And use the same credentials. Okay. DNS delegation. Click next. So I gave trainings, right? So now it is checking in the ARN forest whether the trainings, is there any other domain or a tree or a forest is there. So if there are existing trainings, if there is any existing domain with the name of training, if there is any existing name with the name of training for domain controller, domain, uh, tree or forest, it will not give, it will give error. So this is a new, no name matches, so it's a unique. That's the reason it's not giving any error. So it checks the entire forest with the training name. Is there any tree or domain is there or not? If it is not there, it will not give any error. If it is there, give the error, please change your child domain name. Okay. So these are all no database folder, log folder, and sysvol. Click next. Click next. See, this is a server now. This row, server role is server. Okay. Member server. Okay. Now, after installing this, the server will become change. Install. It is installing. It is installing. Okay. Next, coming to let it install, coming to tree. Coming to tree. See, here Tata Hotels is a different from other businesses, right? So in airlines, we have a child domains like Air India, Air Vistara. In Tata Hotels, it is a separate tree. So we can create a separate tree for ARN forest. Okay, it is installing. Yeah, done. Close. Let it it is restarting. Now let restart the system. Now log into this. Close this. So let me check this server role. Net accounts. See, server. It is restarting. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to create a separate tree like ARN. ARN is also tree. Of course, it is it got created first. So this is the forest, and this is the tree, and this is the domain. Okay. Now, like arn.com, I'm going to create a separate tree. Okay. So to create a separate tree, we need to click install Active Directory services. Click add roles and features. Click next. Click next. Click next. Active Directory domain services. Enable Active Directory domain services. Click next. Click next. Restart if required. Click next. Let Active Directory service install in this mission. Coming to the still it is loading. Okay. Okay. Let it install. Yeah. Now see, we got trainings. When you log into this, ARN, but here child domain ARN. Sorry, child domain, we got trainings/administrator. Okay. Password. Go to local server. Let's see, this domain name is quite different. See, domain name is trainings.arn.com. So arn.com is the domain and trainings is the child domain. So that is the reason we got this domain name. We got like this. ARN is the main domain and trainings is the child domain. So trainings.arn.com is the domain. Here what is the domain name? arn.com. arn.com. Now for ARN, trainings is the child domain. Trainings is the child domain. Okay. Now coming to tree. Go to promote this server to domain controller. Here I'm going to create a new forest like arn.com. Okay. I'm going to create a either you create a new forest or you can create a one moment guys, either you are create a new forest. Okay. You can create a new forest like arn.com. Don't confuse. ARN is a first forest. It is a tree. It is a domain. Okay. Now, if you select here a new forest, it will become a new forest. Like now it is a Tata, Reliance. So, but adding a new domain, add a new domain to an existing forest. So under the same forest, you are creating a separate tree like Tata Hotels, like Tata Power, Tata Steel. So you need to select this, and here you need to select tree domain, not a child domain, not under the arn.com, not creating a domain under arn.com domain. So you're creating a tree. You need to select a tree. So I'm sorry, this is forest name. What is the forest name here? arn.com is the forest. And what is the new domain? So I'm going to create here, um, create here um, tech, tech solutions, tech solutions, like tech trainings, tech solutions is tech solutions. Okay. So give the username. Here we need to give the forest wide uh, domain controller. I mean forest wide username. So administrator, you need to give administrator and password. Okay. Now .com. Okay. Need to give techsolutions.com. So under the ARN.com forest, like under Tata forest, created Tata hotels. Like under ARN.com, created techsolutions.com is the company. Okay. Click next. So now it is a, see, before this is a member server. Now after installing these services, we'll see what is the, and we forgot to see here, right? Yeah, let's see command, how the child domain controller will net accounts. See, this is the primary. So this is a primary because even it is a child domain, this server is a primary. Before it was server, now it is showing primary. Yeah, here you need to give the password, administrator password. Click next. Click next. So checking the domain name, whether it is a unique one or a duplicated one. So tech solutions. So there is no uh, uh, domain tree or a child domain or a forest with the name of tech solutions. So hence no errors. Click next. Click next. Let me shut down this because so that this will go fast. Shut down. Yeah, install. So now the system is a member server. After installing this become a tree like arn.com. This is a new domain. Uh, so after installing Active Directories in tree, let's log in. Let's log into tree and see what is the role of this computer. Okay, so let me open command prompt. command prompt and give net accounts and run net accounts. See, now this server role is primary. Before it was server, member server. Now it is a primary. And also you can check here, click local server in server manager. If you see techsolutions.com. So like arn.com, we have techsolutions.com domain. So this is a tree and this is also one tree. If you see here, if you see here, see like arn.com, like here techsolutions.com. So this is a domain and a tree, and this is also separate domain and tree. Okay, so the member server became a tree now. So if you see here primary, and if you go and check the role of this computer, net accounts, see primary. So this is how the tree works. It is a different tree. It is a different domain uh, from arn.com. So this is also tree, domain, and forest. And this is also tech solution, also domain, tree. But under arn.com forest, it tech solutions will under the tech solutions is under arn.com tree. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.